The storm had been building since Tuesday. By Thursday morning, Denver International Airport wore it the way old cities wear bad news stoically. Without surprise, every surface coated in a gray-white quiet that made the terminal feel like the inside of something held underwater. Outside the long windows, the runway lights blinked orange through the snow. Planes sat at their gates longer than scheduled. The departure boards updated, retracted, updated again. A flight to Salt Lake was delayed 40 minutes, then an hour. Then it disappeared from the board entirely. Inside, the air smelled like coffee and damp wool, and the kind of human anxiety that gathers whenever people realize they may not get where they are going. Ethan Cole stood in the security line at 7:14 a.m., his daughter's hand inside his. He was 38, though he looked like a man who'd been doing the work of 45 for several years. Not unhealthy, just compressed. There were lines at the corners of his eyes that came from squinting at technical drawings in bad light, and a stillness to his posture that had nothing to do with calm. He wore a dark canvas jacket that had been washed too many times, clean dark jeans, boots that were practical, and not much else. His carry-on was black, nondescript, zippered to the top. His backpack was older, patched near one strap with electrical tape. Beside him, Mia Cole was 6 years old and small for her age. She wore a red knit hat with a white pom-pom, and a coat that was slightly too large bought last winter with growing room that hadn't quite materialized yet. Her left hand was in her father's. Her right hand rested, as it often did without her seeming to notice, against the left side of her chest. It was a habit that had started before she could explain it. Before Ethan could explain it to anyone either. The line moved slowly. An older woman ahead of them was having trouble with her shoes. 2 college students behind them talked over each other in loops. Mia watched the security scanner the way she watched most things, with quiet, total attention, saying nothing. "You okay?" Ethan asked. She nodded once, pressed closer to his side. He adjusted the shoulder strap of the backpack without letting go of her hand. The X-ray conveyor inched forward. Ethan placed his carry-on on the belt, then the backpack, then his jacket. He kept Mia next to him through the body scanner she was too young to go through alone. And the TSA agent at the mouth of the lane waved them forward together. They stepped through. The machine beeped. One clean, flat, institutional sound. The agent, young, male, with the particular brand of alertness that comes from 300 repetitive shifts, held up a hand. "Sir, step to the side, please." Ethan stepped. He brought Mia with him, her hand still inside his, both hands out, feet apart. He complied. The agent ran the wand down his sides, across his back, down his legs. The wand beeped again at the left side of Ethan's chest. Not loudly, but unmistakably. The agent stepped back. "Can you open your jacket?" "I don't have my jacket," Ethan said. "It went through the belt." The agent looked at the belt. The jacket was still moving through, along with the backpack. He spoke into his radio. A low exchange Ethan couldn't fully hear. Within 40 seconds, a second agent arrived. The first retrieved the backpack. "This yours?" "Yes. We'll need to search it." "Okay." The second agent unzipped the backpack with the careful, unhurried authority of someone who had been trained to make the unhurried thing feel final. He reached inside and removed a device. It was roughly the size of a thick hardback book, a custom casing, black with ventilation holes along one edge, a small LED panel on the face, and 2 thin wire leads coiled neatly in a side pocket. Both agents looked at it. "What is this?" the first one said. Ethan looked at the device with the flat expression of someone who had anticipated this question. "It's a cardiac monitoring unit. I declared it in the documentation when I booked the flight." "You declared it," the second agent repeated. The way he said it suggested he was not sure documentation meant what Ethan thought it meant. In the special items field, "I have the confirmation on my phone if you need to see it." The second agent looked at the device again. "At the wire leads. At the LED panel. At the ventilation holes along the edge. This is custom built," he said. "Yes." "Did you build this yourself?" A brief pause. "Yes." The 2 agents exchanged a look. Not suspicious. Exactly, or not only that. More like two people who have just realized the manual they consulted this morning doesn't cover the current situation. Around them, the security lane continued to operate. The conveyor kept moving. Shoes came off and went back on. Laptops were removed and replaced. But in the specific 2 meters where Ethan Cole stood with his daughter, the air had changed. The passengers in the adjacent lanes began to look. Not all of them, and not all at once, but in the slow, reluctant way that people look at things they have decided to let someone else handle, while making sure they get a clear enough view to form an opinion later. Ethan felt it. He'd felt it before, in different rooms and different configurations. And he knew exactly what it was. Mia felt it too. She pressed her right hand harder against her chest without saying anything. The supervisor's name was Agent Bowen. He was older than the first 2 agents, with close-cropped gray hair and the expression of a man who had learned, through long experience, that being thorough was not the same thing as being right. He arrived within 4 minutes, studied the device, and said, "We need to take you to secondary screening." "I understand," Ethan said. "I need my daughter to come with me. Standard procedure is—" "I know what standard procedure is," Ethan said, without raising his voice. "She has a congenital heart defect. She cannot be separated. If she's distressed, her heart rate spikes, and she needs monitoring. That device is her monitor." Bowen looked at Mia. She looked back at him with large, calm eyes. "She has paperwork?" he said. "Her medical files are on my phone. Her cardiologist's contact is also there." Bowen studied the device again. Then Ethan. Then Mia. The calculation happening behind his eyes was visible if you were paying attention, not cruelty, not bad faith, just the rigid geometry of protocol meeting a situation the protocol was not specifically built for. "We'll keep her with you," he said finally. They were moved to a secondary screening room, a narrow space off the main lane, with a bench along one wall, a table, and a door that didn't fully close. One of the younger agents stood in the entrance. Not inside, not blocking, just present in the way that made the room feel smaller. Ethan set the device on the table. He unlocked his phone and pulled up the booking confirmation, the special items declaration, the digital copy of Mia's cardiology files, and the note from her doctor, Dr. Rachel Ewan, Children's Hospital, Colorado, that he carried in 3 formats and had never once been asked for at an airport before this morning. Bowen read the screen without touching the phone. "The device isn't on our approved list," he said. "It's not a commercially produced device," Ethan said. "There isn't an approved list that would cover it. I built it specifically for her condition. It runs on a modified version of a standard ECG algorithm. No wireless transmitters. No battery larger than what a standard laptop carries. I've taken it on 4 domestic flights. And they let you through?" "Yes." Bowen's jaw moved once, a slight tightening. He picked up his radio again. Outside the room, the airport continued. The storm outside the glass had thickened. A flight to Chicago was now delayed by 2 hours. The departure boards updated with the particular quiet cruelty of text changing on a screen. Mia sat on the bench. She had taken off her pom-pom hat and was holding it in her lap, turning it slowly by the brim. Ethan sat beside her, close enough that his arm pressed against hers. "Daddy," she said. "Yeah. Are we going to miss the plane?" "No," he said. Then, because it was Mia, and she heard the difference, "I don't know yet. We're working on it." She absorbed this. Then, "Did you do something wrong?" The question sat in the room for a moment. "No," Ethan said. "I didn't." She considered this with the same seriousness she brought to everything. Then, leaned her head against his arm and said nothing else. Outside the room, through the gap in the door, Ethan could hear Bowen on the radio. The words he caught, in pieces. "Custom device. No manufacturer ID. Father says he built it. Passenger is a minor medical claim."